Welcome back to the REI Agent. We are here with Brianna K Hunter. Brianna, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
You look like you're a lot warmer than I am.
Yeah, I'm in San Diego, and this is a real backdrop right here. That
Oh,
the
that's
tree.
amazing.
Yeah,
San
it's awesome.
Diego is one of my favorite cities I think I've been to, especially now that it's cold outside. So enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm originally from Connecticut, so I'm definitely enjoying the sun over here.
Oh, wow. Well, Brianna, before we get into your story, can you kind of give us a bird's eye view of what you do in the real estate space?
Yeah, absolutely. In this current moment, my main focus is multifamily investing. So I help structure syndications and I help other people who are looking to get into the industry make, sound financial choices and make good returns with their investment strategies.
I love it. I love it. And we'll dive into that um, here in more detail. But I'm curious what brought you from Connecticut to San Diego and how you started in real estate to get to this space, because that's definitely like a more advanced strategy. So, yeah, curious about your story. How'd you get started?
Yeah, it's definitely been a journey. So I actually bought my first investment property when I was in college. Um, I was young and I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, but I grew up with an incredible mentor. My mom is a broker in real estate. She does residential sales, and she was so present in my life. Anytime I was in school and I, got sick, she was there within, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and really just extremely present. And I know that I'm, really blessed to have that experience growing up. But I saw the freedom that owning her own time gave her. And it was something that, I was really focused on chasing and getting for myself as I grew. So during college, I figured I'd, take a big risk and lean on the people in my life who had experience with investing. And I bought my first property, um,
Wow.
which really changed my world. Yeah, it opened my eyes to the importance of what leverage can do for you, and um, and just the ability that investing can give you to be present in your life. So
Yeah.
that's how I started. I became an agent and followed my mom's footsteps for a while, and I
So
love that side of the business.
this is in Connecticut still.
In Connecticut. Yeah, born and raised in Connecticut.
Okay.
Uh, so I worked with my mom. She was my broker, and I ended up doing 12 sales my first year as an agent. Talk about good mentorship.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
And
and really found a lot of success.
that's awesome. Yeah. Did you get that investment property? I was curious if it was pretty turnkey or was it something that you had to renovate at all? I mean, so that was a rental to start. You weren't living in it.
It was a duplex. So I started with your classic house hack. It was
Nice.
a fixer-upper. I moved into one unit. I bought it with an FHA loan, and I rented out the second unit. And while I lived in the property, I ended up renovating the apartment that I lived in. So I moved into the not so nice apartment unit,
Sure.
and then got a lot of hands-on experience um, through that.
Did you have roommates living with you in your unit as well at the time, or did you just have it by yourself so you could focus on the renovation?
No, I moved in on my own. So I focused on the renovation. I learned how to put in flooring and tiling, which tiling is actually pretty fun if you have the time to do it. I was putting sheetrock up and
Wow.
changing out toilets. And I bought a wet saw when I was in
Okay.
college. I was really proud of learning how to do that for sure. Yeah, lots of hands-on experience and just
So
dove right into everything I could.
so most people were out there buying 24 packs of beer and you're buying 24 packs of tile.
Yeah,
Awesome.
exactly. Yeah.
That is like the like such a good case study of like doing stuff, the right way, and how you can really leverage, that 3.5% down from FHA loan, to get something. So was it breaking even the mortgage, the other unit that was rented out while you were there, or did you have to supplement that a little bit?
No, it was cash flowing actually.
Oh,
My renter, so my net profit was after all expenses was about $200 a month while I was still living in one of the
that's
units.
amazing.
Yeah, very grateful for that.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I
really cool.
bought during yeah, and I will say, it was during, the whole COVID market shift. And when I went to buy the property, everyone was so nervous. The prices had skyrocketed. And, you know, from those who were closest around me, everyone was saying, don't buy, don't buy. It's not the right time. Wait it out. Prices are too high. They're going to drop back down. And in what was very valuable to me at the time was I chose to listen to people who were at a better place, and where I wanted to go. So I
Mm.
had some mentors, and they were the ones that really charged me to take the risk, take the jump. And no matter what happens, like I have the capability of figuring it out. And I did. I made the jump, and all those other people that held back are still holding back and still haven't bought that house. And in the last few years since then, I've been able to appreciate that risk tolerance.
It's so funny. I've heard people projecting the downturn, ever since, like, I don't know, 2017, around then or so. It's not the right time. It's too expensive, and it's laughable now. And holding a property for 30 years, you're going to be laughing about squabbling over a couple $1,000s in the negotiations or whatever. And it's just time heals a lot of wounds.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I think
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to add to that. I think, for those people who say that it's not the right time, there is never a right time. You have to choose to want what comes with the journey, right? And so you just have to do your research, make sure you're making a decision with discernment, and lean on the community that knows more than you, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, just having an opportunity to buy a duplex where half of it's going to cover and cash flow your living expenses is it's amazing. And it's probably a lot harder now with the interest rates where they are. But
Mm.
good for you for pushing through and not focusing too much on the naysayers, and surrounding yourself with the right people to get you where you wanted to go. So yeah, so were you still in college then when you got your license as well? Did you sell
Mhm.
those 12 while you were still studying?
Yeah, so I was still in college when I bought my first property and when I became an agent. It's funny enough, I actually dropped out, which I'm not sure everyone wants to hear, but I did because my senior year in college, I walked into one of my courses, one of my last gen ed courses that I needed to take, and this freshman next to me had asked for if he could borrow a pen. So I pulled out a pen, and of course, being an agent, that pen had my name and my number on it and my business. And he looked at me astounded. And he was like, "There's no way this is your pen." And I was like, "Yeah, honestly, I don't know what I'm doing in this class." Um, because at that time, I had put so much energy into making sure that, I had a career that could support the moves that I was making with buying a property. It really pushed me to become really active with my agency license. And I found so much success that by the time I was a senior in college, I actually realized in that moment that, the time I was spending in that course was actually holding me back from further business that could
Mm.
push me forward in the direction that I was moving. So I
Well,
ended up dropping out and chasing real estate.
nice. What was your major? What were you wanting to be?
Yeah, my major, well, I started out wanting to be a surgeon, so I was a neurobiology major, and then I transferred to psychology and human development. So still in that science realm, but more in the social sciences.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think people, there's oftentimes people should drop out or just not even go. Because I mean, I think college seems like it's almost like a continuation of high school in some ways now. Like you're kind of, I don't know if this is true for you, but when I was in high school, it was like kind of like you're fed the line that, you need to go to college. People that go to college on average make X amount more money in their lifetime and all these things. And I think that, at the end of the day, like there's so many people that I went to college with or that I know went to college that are not doing anything related to their degree. And then furthermore, I don't think a lot of people actually really sit down and think of their college experience as an investment in their like future. And they don't always factor in like, okay, I'm spending X amount of money to get this degree and I'm going to be doing X. And that return on my investment is X. And like, I don't think that's really taught or really thought about. And you don't need it. I mean, I wouldn't have needed it. I got my undergrad degree, but I like the experience I had. I like the knowledge I gained, but it's not really, the degree itself isn't really helping me.
Yeah. Do you want me asking you what's your degree?
Psychology.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's, the way I look at it is college is a metric. There's stats that can, I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but I'm sure show that, those who are more likely to finish with a degree are more likely to, have a higher income compared to the median and all of that. I think it's an important metric, but I think people forget, what's lying behind that. What's lying behind that is education, right? Knowledge
Yeah.
is power.
Yeah.
And also someone's drive to succeed. So whether you're going to college or you're getting your license as an agent or you're joining a mentorship program for whatever, your passion is, I think the internal character traits that charge the metric that college is associated with are the more important ones to be aware of. So it's not necessarily that getting a degree is going to make you more successful. I know plenty of people with a degree who have not used it in years, if not decades, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can't force someone to have that drive. But if you have it, it's really about investing it into whatever channel makes the most sense for you. So
Yeah.
sometimes that is college if you know exactly what you're looking to gain from that. But sometimes it's not, and that's okay.
Totally. Yeah. So, okay. From there, you realize like, this isn't a great use of my time.
hmm
You dropped out. You were still selling at that point.
Yeah, so I was still an agent. I s- I had started working with investors, and some of the mentors that had pushed me to buy my first property ended up giving me exclusive rights to their investment portfolios. So I was helping them operate and stabilize their investments. And I was just really hands-on in every way that I could be with buyers, sellers, investors, and trying to absorb as much information and help people and learn as much as I could. And I just started scaling. So I ended up buying another property, closing more deals, and business was really taking off from the amount of effort that I had put into it. Um, and I did that for a few years over in Connecticut, until I got to a point where I felt like I was ready for another big challenge or another risk that was going to push me forward in a bigger direction. So.
So what was it? San Diego?
Yeah, I grew up in a really small town and I was building an investment portfolio and a referral network over there. And I was 24, so this was 2 years ago. And I looked around and I felt like, you know, I felt like a big fish in a small pond. And I had to really come to terms with the fact that I wasn't sure that's where I wanted my life to stay forever. So I wanted to find an environment where I was the small fish in a big pond, the smallest person in the room who had a lot to learn. And I found that in San Diego. The environment, the ambition here, uh, everyone, enjoys life and is working to have their time so that they can enjoy the weather and the outdoors here. And it really pushes you forward. There's people here with a mindset, an abundance mindset that I didn't see elsewhere for
Mm,
sure.
awesome. So did you? I mean, what made you land on San Diego? Did you just visit and like it? Did you find an opportunity to sell, to invest? Like, I mean,
Mhm.
what actually got you there?
Yeah. Well, that was a little more of a personal decision. When I moved here, I did not have a job, so I left my entire career with no plan lined up for when I arrived, except for I'm gonna figure it out, right?
Hmm.
But my grandmother, she's my absolute best friend. She's also just amazing. I mean, she's got TikTok, FaceTime, Facebook, all of the social media. She's very hip. And I was chatting with her and trying to figure out where I wanted to go and what that next direction was. And she looked at me and as a wise sound lady, she said, "Girl, if you're going to start your life over, you better go all the way across the country and do it right the first time." And I said, "Yes, ma'am." You know what? Yeah, I should. I should. Kill your backup plan, right?
Wow.
So
Yeah.
within about a month, I had packed everything up. I threw my dog and cat in the back seat and I drove 5 days to San Diego without an idea of what was waiting for me.
Had you been there before?
One time. One time when I was, I think, 8 years old. Very
Okay.
different experience.
Yeah. Okay. So you probably had a bit of a savings saved up from your work. Did you hold your rentals? Do you still have them?
I have one. I ended up selling the first property that I bought, partly just because of well, not just because it was a mix of the when I bought it in the market, as well as the renovations that the property had, undergone. The value was a good enough amount where it made more sense to sell than to hold. So I ended up selling that property, which, of course, is leverage. It's just one more thing that helps you move forward. So definitely
Yeah.
a great move.
Okay. And so was that before you moved or did that happen after?
I actually sold it after.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then so you get to San Diego and I assume you have a little bit of money, you secure rent. I mean, like that can be hard if you don't have a job, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know why I ever got accepted to an apartment here, but I did. I started applying and people were accepting me without a job. So I think that has to do with alignment. I mean, I took that as a sign that it was definitely the right move.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so then like what did you start networking at real estate investment groups? Like where did you go from there?
Yeah, the first day I arrived, I actually went to Staples and I printed off my resume as well as some letters of recommendations, um, like 100 or more, to be honest. And I just decided that if I'm going to do this, I'm all in. And I went and started door knocking. Agencies, restaurants. Like my goal at that point was just to get my door, my foot in the door somewhere.
Hmm.
So whether that started in a restaurant and I built connections through the people that I met, or if that was through an agency and jumping right back into the real estate world, I just wanted opportunity. So for 2 weeks, I handed out resume after resume, and I walked the city and I walked everywhere, and I just started getting interview after interview after interview, which led me to just some great opportunities and helped me get established over here for sure.
Okay. And was that the place that you're at now? I mean, like I know right now you're syndicating. So like is that
Mhm.
did that happen later?
Right. Yeah. So the first job that I got when I first moved here was actually with a restaurant. Funny enough, one of my investor friends in Connecticut, his childhood friend was the manager of the restaurant, and it was this weird connection that small world moment. And so I ended up working with them, um, just to get my, foot in the door, meet some people. And right after I had started, I got a offer from an investment company, a real estate investment company, to work with them. So I ended up transferring over and working for a investment company over here. I helped them do fix and flip projects, acquire properties. I did acquisitions. I supervised their broker relations department, and I got really close with the founder and the CEO of that company. I'm really blessed because they kind of took me underneath their wing. So I got to join a lot of their meetings, their leadership meetings, and really just see how they ran their business and learn very hands-on, and very fast, right? Just absorbed as much as I could and use that. And then I just decided, my goal in my life really was to work for myself, and it was, time to make another jump. So I actually left that job in May and of this year, and now I just work for myself and I partner with other people in the industry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where the hell is the next jump going to be, Brianna? You gonna jump to the moon?
We'll see. We'll see. I'm only 26, so it's possible.
That's awesome. So let's
Yeah.
get into syndicating a little bit. So you're focused on the apartment sector, you said?
Yeah, multifamily.
Cool. I mean, and is that in San Diego or is that throughout the country?
I would say overall throughout the country. I, I'm currently more focused on the San Diego market, but I'm part of one that's in Arizona. I've looked at property in Utah and Texas. Um, so I'm not solely San Diego. There's money to be made in any market. It's just, who you're partnering with that knows that market and the research that you do into it and the strategies for sure.
And do you have an overarching strategy for investing? Is this buy and hold long term, where the like capital event would be like a refinance, or is this more like a turning the property over and then selling it as a capital event?
Yeah, great question. Right now, I'm focused on uh, more of like a value add, right? So renovating and bringing these commercial multifamily properties up to stabilization within a 3 to 5 year time period. Depending on the market, if it's a more cash flow heavy market and it makes more sense, obviously the goal would be to refinance and hold so that both me and my other investors are really capitalizing on that side of
Mhm.
passive income. And then there's obviously other markets. San Diego's a little bit more of an equity play over here. So, you know, instead of refinancing and holding those properties, it's either cashing out or developing them, right? So building them ground up in a 2.5 year time span, and then selling for the equity.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, shoot, there could be if you're looking at a portfolio as a bigger picture thing too. I could see how holding something in San Diego for a long time, even if it's not a cash cow at the time, could
Mhm.
definitely benefit with the equity growth.
Yeah, it just depends on the market. There's some markets that make more sense to, bank on the equity, and there's some that are just way more cash flow heavy. It just depends on the state and the city, the niche market for sure.
And did you mention at the beginning that you were in kind of more the raising capital side of the operation? Did you say that, or am I making that up?
Yeah, no, my focus in the syndications is raising capital and investor relations. So working with those investors, I'm partnered with, well, I know a lot of syndicators across the country, and so really what I do is I try to vet their opportunities that are already under contract,
Mm.
as much as I possibly can to protect my investors, and then invest alongside my investors. Because if it's a deal that I think has checked all of the boxes, um, over and over, and I've fielded so many to get to that point. I want there to be alignment. If I believe in it, I'm in it with you, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And is that a fund of funds model then, or are you becoming a general partner as well in those deals?
General partner. General
Okay.
partner. Yeah. I
This
haven't explored the fund to funds yet.
this might be a lot of jargon for people who are not familiar with syndications, but it is a really I think there's a great alignment between real estate agents and syndications. And I don't know how many agents understand that world or even have even heard of it potentially.
Hmm.
But there is some great benefit. I think that if you are a agent that is out there, if you're making a good amount of money, like let's just say $600,000 a year, you're out there hustling and you're busy and you've got, your clients and you're really good at your craft. I think investing is super smart to do as an agent for many reasons. But one of them being you are a real estate professional status. And that allows you to, double check with your CPA. Don't just take my word for it. I'm not a CPA. But that allows you to then take depreciation off of your income, like your commission. So with syndications, typically they are doing a cost segregation study, and that is accelerating. They're accelerating the depreciation they can on that asset, which can afford some pretty good tax write-offs, especially if you are, again, that real estate professional. So this, in some ways, I see it as like a realtor, like 401k, where you're like able to invest in something, and get the tax benefits of like what a 401k would offset your income, and then you're getting a return on it. Typically, I would guess a quarterly kind of payment. Typically on those, is that right?
Typically, yeah.
And then there's going to be, the cash out. There could be a sale, could be a refinance where you might, depending on the structure of the deal, get money more than what you put in back, or exactly what you put in back. I mean, it could be less. But the point is you're getting kind of great opportunities along the way there, and the tax benefit can be huge. I like to give the example of a syndication I invested in where I invested $50,000 and got 66,000 the first year as a write-off. In fact, I'd only been invested in this thing for like a month, but
Yeah,
like
it's
and
crazy.
it got that kind of depreciation result for me. And then the next year it was more like, I think like 12 or something like that. But, give it three full years, 3 or 4 full years, and I'll have probably doubled my initial investment and just a write-off benefit. And that doesn't include, all the benefit I'm getting from like the quarterly, payments, the dividends that I'm getting. And that doesn't factor in if there's the capital event, if I get my full amount back, and that doesn't factor in that I will, in this circumstance, still have ownership in the deal even after I receive my $50,000 back. And I'll still have like a very small ownership in it. I won't get near as much money per quarter, but it's still something. And it's a great thing. So yeah. Did I summarize
You're
that?
Yeah, you're compounding your wealth with syndications. And it's so funny because I wish I knew what syndications were when I started as an agent.
Yeah.
I would have grown so much quicker. Like, some people look at me at 26 and they think like, "Oh my God, you're so ahead." Well, I look at what I know now and I think if I knew what I know now when I was like an active agent starting out, I would be so much further along. And you're right, the tax benefits are insane, right? The bonus depreciation, cost segregation studies, um, and that's essential, especially to agents who are working off commission and they're not with a company that does provide a 401k. Even further, though, I think, a lot of agents also have an IRA because they're accounting for the fact that the 401 doesn't really exist in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
I have an IRA. And what's great about real estate is you can even invest your IRA, right? You can switch it over to a self-directed IRA.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a legal advisor either, so of course, talk to your CPA. But from what I've seen and what I've seen other people do, you can invest your IRA, have that retirement account, and those investments are tax free. Those returns are tax free because it's all still in that retirement account, right? So whether you're using this method of investment to, keep more of that commission in your pocket, double your investment overall or grow, your future retirement account, there's so many benefits
Mhm.
to learning about it.
Yeah, and if people aren't familiar with the way these kind of deals work, and where this all maybe sounds too good to be true, but
Yeah.
it's really the power of cap rates is really where this kind of all boils down to. I mean, we're not, when you get into this kind of asset class, you're not, it's not comps that are making the value. It is whatever the cap rate is for that kind of asset class. And what what the operators are doing is they're looking for opportunities where they can come in and make it their business more profitable, which will then make the value go up because of how cap rates work. And the power of that allows for this much, like, giving the existing cash flow allows them to pay the investors when they have their money in, right? And then the building up the better business, like, getting the rents to be higher, getting the operation expenses to be lower, all that stuff will then have a huge impact on what the value is at that scale. Like $25 over 100 different units adds up fast, for example.
Yeah, yeah, and you're so right. We're talking about this like it's, the apple pie of life or something, but there's risk. Like
Yeah.
it's not too good to be true. There is risk and investment you make, of course, whether that's in stocks or real estate or something else, there is risk. What I love about real estate though, as you were saying, the cap rates, it's not just subject to, comps in the market. It's subject to forced equity. So with these bigger properties, if you have one out of 30 tenants vacate, right? It's a statistic that's already accounted for in underwriting, right? So we look at percentages, we look at costs to run the property, how to decrease those margins to make the property more profitable. And essentially as we stabilize it and add value to it, whether that's in cutting the cost of the maintenance, whether that's renovating the property, and adding the value that way, you're literally forcing the value up because the more the property is rented for, the more stable it is, the more it's worth in the long run. And that's where the cap rates come in. So
Yeah.
100%. It's forced
Yeah.
equity, not the same way as residential.
Yeah, and there's a lot of control in the regard of, you can, have a really good plan for how to get those expenses down and the rents up. There certainly are variables outside of your control. I know a lot of people, there's blood in the water. Speaking of risk, a
Mhm.
lot of people that were doing bridge loans and that kind of stuff, where they were getting a property and they needed extra money to get that property, like to do the renovations needed to get the rents up, et cetera. And that was short-term debt that, as we all know, interest rates have gone up drastically here recently. And that caused, it to not pencil out near as well. So there is definitely risk involved, and so I think the operators are definitely super important, and having a good enough understanding. Like, you don't have to. I mean, the more you understand, the better. But like, you don't have to know enough to be like necessarily an operator to be an investor in one of these. I mean, you don't have to know anything. You can just throw your money at it, but it's wise to.
Right. So when we're talking about investing into these deals, there's two different kind of investor classes that join, right? We have the accredited investor, and then we have the sophisticated investor. And what the difference really is, point blank, an accredited investor is someone that makes over $200,000 a year, or $300,000 a year if married, income, or has a net worth of $1 million. A sophisticated investor is somebody who understands the risk, the questions, the investment that they're joining, and maybe they don't hold accredited investor status, but they're aware of what's going on, right? So we never ever want a new investor to be jumping into investment that they don't understand, right? It's
Sure.
our job as the operator to make sure that they have questions that we can answer, and giving them questions that they should be asking on any investment, right? So educating them truly, like, you know, when you understand what you're getting into, the risk isn't as risky, right? Education fills that gap for you. So think about, when I was an agent, right? And I started helping people buy and sell homes. If I didn't know how interest rates impacted mortgages, or how, I don't know how to write a contract would feel risky. I mean, you can dumb it down to more simpler things, but you do need to understand how it is, and those are the people you want to work with. Those people are going to give you answers.
Yeah, I mean the possibilities with syndication are definitely there's a lot of them, and knowing what you're getting into is definitely huge. So definitely important to do that. I do want to ask if you have a golden nugget you would like to share to our listeners at this point.
Yeah, I think for me, the thing that has helped me, leverage my life is leaning on my mentors and asking questions. So my golden nugget would be just to, you don't need to know everything, but taking action and aligning yourself with those who do know more than you is invaluable to success.
Absolutely. I think, like, to your point, what you said earlier too, was, surrounding yourself and listening to the people that are actually in the places you wanted to be. It's just, take a good audit of the people in your life. I think that there are people that just tend to be negative, and kind of set themselves or limit themselves. And that kind of influence will definitely trickle down on you. So even just, friends and stuff can hold you back. But, like you said, like having mentors that are, a lot further along than in the direction you want to go is so huge. And you could be 26 and you could be syndicating in San Diego. I mean, look at this.
You could.
I don't know if a mentor is going to make me 26, but anyway, what about a favorite book? Do you have one that's like a fundamental read you think everybody should, or just one you're currently enjoying?
Yeah, I wish I had one that was just like, this is the book you need to read. I'm constantly reading so many books. Right now, I'm reading The 48 Laws of Power. It's extremely intriguing, the concepts that are discussed in that book, and things that I don't normally think about. I think for that, it really helps you focus internally about what kind of energy, how you present yourself, what you're looking for out of life, and the motivations behind it, and how to get there. I think if anyone's looking for a new perspective, 48 Laws of Power is a great one.
Okay, that one I haven't read. I've definitely seen it recommended a few times. It's a bigger book, right? It's not a picture book. It's
not small.
I think honestly the size of it is often again, I like pictures, but
not a picture book. That was one bite at a time kind of book.
Cool. Awesome. Well, if people are interested in follow your journey, or want more information about some of the deals you're investing in, where's a good place they can find you or follow you?
Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram are really my main resources for social media. I'd love to see you guys in there. You can look up on Facebook, Brianna Hunter, and then my Instagram handle is Brianna K Kyh. And I'm happy to connect, to have a personal conversation and see how I can help you guys with anything, for sure.
Awesome. Brianna, thanks so much for being on the show. It's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's been my pleasure.
Thanks for listening to the REI Agent.
If you enjoyed this episode, hit subscribe to catch new shows every week.
Visit reiagent.com for more content.
Until next time, keep building the life you want.
All content in the show is not investment advice or mental health therapy. It is intended for entertainment purposes only.